So I get the job at the Revs Institute, and like I said, one of my first events was the Greenwich Concourse. But for Monterey in 2018, McLaren decided to send the Le Mans winning GTR McLaren F1 to Monterey Car Week for Mika Hakkinen to do celebration laps around the track. He was, I think, scheduled twice a day to go out in the car and do celebration laps. And it was like the main feature of that whole weekend at the track, at least, was Mika Hakkinen driving the Le Mans winning McLaren F1. Before us going to Pebble Beach and Monterey Car Week, we had been having some issues with our McLaren F1 where it would, the car would start normally, it would reach operating temperatures, and then the ECU would just automatically shut off one of the fuel pump relays. So the car would only run on like 6 cylinders. Well, actually, no, it would completely shut it off, because I remember I have a picture of the car on a flatbed in Naples, which is so surreal to see McLaren F1 on a flatbed. So it happened to us like twice where we would take it out, it would get operating temperature, and the car would shut off. We were able to diagnostic in-house that it was the ECU was shutting off the fuel pump relays. So we got in contact with McLaren, and the legendary Pani got a hold of us, and he instructed me on how to remove the ECU. So with his guidance, I removed the ECU, and he was like, hey, I'm flying out there with the McLaren F1 to Monterey. How about I fly out with a new flashed ECU to your chassis 22. You bring me your old one, and I'll exchange it. So I had to remove it and fly to Monterey with a priceless McLaren F1 ECU in my backpack. So I get to Monterey Car Week. Pani had given me his contact information, so I'm texting him, asking him when he's going to be there. We usually go out for the pre-reunion. I think McLaren only went for the main week. So I had the ECU in the hotel there for the first week. The second week, I start communicating with Pani, and he's like, yeah, let's do this at such time on this day. You come over here where we're at. The track had provided them with the actual proper garage so they could have some privacy. Mika Hakkinen in such a legendary car. So the car was there, and he's like, hey, just come meet me at, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'll give you the new one. You give me the old one. So I get on this mountain bike that we always take, and I have my backpack on. I'm pedaling through the paddock, this priceless ECU. And I get to the garage where the McLaren F1 Le Mans winning car was there. And I finally meet Pani, who I also admired as a kid, him being such a legendary mechanic with F1. So we exchanged ECUs, and I can't help but just drool over the car. That was the first time I had seen it. It was unbelievable. And it was only probably the second or third McLaren F1 that I had ever seen. So I tell Pani, I'm like, man, is there any way I can come back here and you could let me in so I can just see the car when Mika Hakkinen starts it up and, and drives away, or whenever you guys are going to warm it up. And he's like, yeah, man, no worries. Gives me a time. He's like, yeah, come back at this time. So I come back to our area in the paddock, put the ECU in a nice protected area. I tell my coworkers and my supervisor, I'm like, hey, at this time, can I please just, if it's okay, I have to go see this. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So yeah, go ahead, no worries. We got it under control. Thankfully, we didn't have any cars running around that time. So the time comes that he tells me to go, and I'm pedaling the same mountain bike back up to where their garage is at. I see Pani, and he's like, yeah, come over here. So, it was all stanchioned off because the garage was super crowded. People were out there taking pictures. They knew that Mika Hakkinen was about to get in the car and drive out. So he lets me into their garage where there was only maybe 3 photographers from the event, and then the whole McLaren staff that needed to be there to service the car. So he lets me go in there, and I'm like, I am this close to the car. I'm watching everything, and he's like, you want to meet Mika Hakkinen? I'm like, whoa, that's Mika Hakkinen. Like, that him and Schumacher were the 2 guys that I watched racing. He's like, yeah, it comes around. So, McLaren had this boarded off with kind of a temporary wall set up to give Mika Hakkinen and some of their staff privacy where they could change. So he takes me into this changing room, and there's Mika Hakkinen zipping up his suit. One of the ladies there that was assisting him was holding his helmet. So I didn't want to intervene, while he's changing. So I start talking to the lady, making conversation. I'm like, can I see the helmet? So she lets me hold Mika's helmet and stuff. And then Mika just approaches me very nicely, and he's like, wow, you like the helmet? I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. So I'm like, can I get a picture with you? So I just make a quick meet and greet with Mika Hakkinen. I don't think he probably remembered me. So it was just fast. And then he gets in the car, he puts his helmet on, and he sits in the car. And then Pani is giving him a debrief on all the controls and how to shift and all this stuff and what to look for and all the the dashboard and I was just giving him a good overview. And I am in there. He's like, dude, go on the other side. So I'm on one side of the doors opening up, literally like with half of my body into the cockpit, watching Pani give Mika and Mika feeding back and telling him what. So I'm just in awe seeing one of my childhood heroes in this legendary childhood hero car. So he starts the car up. And I have it all on film where he's starting the car up, and the sound, just that car idling. The cameras are going off of all the people, outside of the garage taking pictures. So he He sets off and, he goes out and does the track. So then I get back on the bike to try to get a good viewpoint from him driving the car. And I mean, everything, the track went silent because everybody just wanted to hear the McLaren F1 go around with Mika Hakkinen. So that was amazing. So that was, I think, on Thursday or Friday at the racetrack. And then obviously the whole Monterey Car Week event ends with Pebble Beach. So Pebble Beach come around, that was the year they had a big Bentley celebration. So we had, I think, 4 or 5 Bentleys there. So I was there super early, 6 in the morning. Now, that was my first time being at Pebble Beach, and I had no idea what to expect, but I had Googled and watched videos, and I saw that everybody was nicely dressed. So I took a suit and, got myself dressed nicely. And, at that time, I didn't realize that the dress shoes that I took with the socks that I took, the socks were just extremely thick. So by the time we got there at 6 in the morning, unloaded the cars, it was probably 9:30 in the morning. My feet were, I could feel my heartbeat in my feet now. I'm miserable. I'm like, I need to do this. So from Pebble Beach to where all the staff and car handlers and car owners park, it's a 30 to 40 minute walk uphill. So it's not an easy, and I had to commit myself. I'm like, I either do this right now, I spend an hour and a half, 2 hours walking up, because what we do is usually, when we have our cars, we have our own dedicated truck there, and a lot of times what we'll do, we'll send one suitcase with all of our crew stuff in the truck, and then another suitcase will fly with us. So I knew I had a suitcase there with more comfortable pants and shoes that I could wear, and I just needed to make that walk. So I commit myself. I'm like, okay, I need to make this walk, and that way I can just be fine for the rest of the 12 hours that I'm going to be there. I'm making this walk all the way up the hill, and it was actually pretty entertaining because you're seeing other people, you're seeing cars, you're seeing people that go by. So I finally get up to our van where our suitcases were at. I get in there, I turned the AC on just to cool off because I was sweating. I sit in there, I'm changing, and it's crazy how timing works. I guess I just took the right amount of time in the van, hanging in there, cooling off, and I'm like, all right, it's time to go. So I get out of the van, I lock it, I close it, and then where the cars are parked, they put this fence on there. So I literally walk out of the fence, and as I'm stepping onto the 17-mile drive, this van just quickly pulls up, stops for like 10 seconds and leaves. And as the van just drives away, Mika Hakkinen is standing there, and I'm like, whoa. I had to almost like the Three Stooges, rub my face and be like, am I looking at this? So I'm like, Mika, what are you doing here? And he's like, hey, how are you? And he's like, how do I get to Pebble Beach, to the concourse? I'm like, well, it's about a 30-minute walk, to where the ocean is at. And he's like, let's do it. I'm like, I can take you. You can walk with me, and I can show you where it's at. So he's like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm walking with Mika Hakkinen down to Pebble Beach, and it was interesting. Nobody really interrupted us. I thought, people were going to be like, Mika, can I get a picture? But it was actually such a surreal experience because people were just taking pictures of us talking like we were buddies as we were just walking through, leading up to Pebble Beach. So we get to the gates at the concourse, and Mika looks at his watch, and he's like, I actually have about another 40 minutes to an hour before I have to be at the McLaren VIP kind of area. He's like, you want to walk with me and check out the vendors? So I get to hang out another hour or so with Mika Hakkinen, and I'm telling him, how famous he is in Ecuador and how he was my childhood hero and how, popular he is. He's like, I didn't know I was popular in South America. I'm like, man, you are the guy in South America. He was just such a intense driver. He was the Mika Hakkinen, the Iceman. So I'm hanging out with him and just catching up on life, which was amazing. He was sharing some of his life experiences. Me obviously being motorcycles being some of my passion. I was asking him if he ever rode motorcycles. He was telling me all his stories about riding motorcycles. So finally, the time is up. He's like, hey, let me see if I can get you into the VIP tent so we can hang out some more. So we go back into the VIP tent, and he's, he gets me in. We take some pictures. I had a few cocktails with him, but I also had to get back to work. So I thanked him for his time and built a relationship with him. I think we even exchanged contact numbers, which was incredible. So that was my first experience meeting Mika Hakkinen. 2 years later, my younger brother and my dad come to Monterey with me. And again, Mika Hakkinen is there. And McLaren has a lot of cars there. They're celebrating, I can't remember what car launch or what was happening with McLaren, but they had a big presence there. And Mika Hakkinen was there as an ambassador. I had been to Monterey now a few times. That had become friends with some of the gate security guys, and I approached one of the gate guys. They had put, at one point during the 2 years later after this happened, they had put all the cars, the McLaren F1 cars, or some of the F1s that were there, Sennas, and some of the new modern hypercars, they had placed them inside of the track where the pre-grid. They didn't let the public in there other than crews, so myself, I could get in, but my brother and my dad couldn't. So I talked to the security guy. I'm like, hey, is there any way I can just get my brother and dad? And he's like, yeah, go ahead, no worries. So we walk in, and then all of a sudden I'm walking in, bam, there's Mika Hakkinen, and he recognizes me. He's like, hey, how you been? Great to see you. So I introduced him to my dad and my brother, which, I couldn't believe that happened. So we finally, got talked for a second, and we ended up getting a photo with Mika Hakkinen of myself, my dad, my younger brother, and of course Mika Hakkinen. So what an experience to have met such a legendary hero for me. It was really, really cool. So what happened was, he gives me ECU. All this happened, with Pebble Beach. So finally, it was the end of the Pebble Beach in 2018. I fly back to Revs Institute with the ECU, reprogrammed to our chassis. So Pani told me to call him back, and I call him, and with his guidance, I'm able to install the ECU. And it's very, the McLaren is so well built and everything's so precise that it has these shims because it has to go to a certain angle so these cannon plugs can fit in there. So he's like making sure that I have all the right shims and everything. So I'm able to install it. And I mean, that was just unreal to be able to work on a car like this at, such an early time in my career at Revs Institute. So I installed the car, the ECU in the car, and it worked perfect. I mean, we had no issues, and it's the same ECU that's in the car now that we just put 1,000 miles on. So, the car worked perfect, and thank you, Pani, for that.
For the last 20 years or so, I've been working with Premier Financial Services for my own exotic car needs, but also sending friends and clients when I was a car dealer to Premier Financial Services because their simple lease is truly the most powerful tool in the world of exotic car financing. We love it because we get all the great things about leasing, like low upfronts, better tax treatment for business owners, lower sales taxes, but we also retain all the great things about a traditional finance arrangement, like the ability to accumulate equity, trade in and out whenever you want, and always know where your payoff stands because they give you an amortization table with every single lease. And Premier's been a supporter of VINwiki here for the last 8 years, and we love them for that, but truly because the customer support of the Premier Financial Services team is unmatched. And now that they're backed and wholly owned by First Financial Bank, that gives them even more buying power for their portfolio of the most significant and valuable collector and exotic cars in the world. It's also allowing them to create new and more interesting finance options and programs for their clients and giving them much more buying power, which is what everybody is looking for as they go on the search for their dream car. So check out Premier Financial Services right now at the link in the description below to thank them for their support of VINwiki and know that they'll be the perfect supporter of your journey to own your dream car.